What's up, you guys? It's Levi here. Welcome to another edition of the Cybersecurity Education channel. Today we'll be continuing on our cybersecurity while traveling series. Specifically, this section is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to be talking about encryption, which is super important, but I'm going to be breaking it down into 4 different parts instead of just one video like I have been doing. So I'm going to break it down into the different subsections. So I'll be talking about iOS in one video, I'll be talking about Android in one video, I'll be talking about Mac in one video, and I'll be talking about Windows in one video. And so I'll be talking to you guys about what encryption is for each of these devices and why it's important to you, and then talk about kind of how the encryption works on these devices so you can get a sense of how your device is being protected. So this specific video, I will be talking about iOS encryption. So iPhones and iPads are what I'm talking about in this video. If this isn't something that you're interested in this video, just keep waiting. The next 3 videos will be on the other 3 devices that I talked about. Alright, so here's a little bit of example to try to explain what encryption is to you. So this is, let's pretend like this is a message on your computer, or this is your hard drive on your computer. So the unencrypted version of the message is just job. You can read it, it's readable, and you can see it just fine, right? The encrypted version of your device, it comes out to be 10.15.2. So just looking at this, if you didn't know what this was, this would just look like garbage, junkle. It would look like unreadable message to you, like what the heck is this? So it's kind of the same way that your hard drive works when it encrypts. Basically, there's an encryption algorithm, and it goes and it takes and randomly scrambles your data according to an encryption key, like something like this down below. So to decrypt this, well, we have our encryption key down here. So we know that J is equal to 10, so that you get a J out of that. 15 is equal to O, so you get the O out of that, and then 2 is equal to B, so you get the B out of that. So on a very easy level, you can see the key is down here for it. Well, on your computer, obviously, it's much more complicated. It's using very, very complicated encryption algorithms to generate a key that's much more difficult than just this. So that's kind of how encryption works. You basically start out with your unencrypted data. There's an algorithm that generates the garbage encrypted stuff. There's a key that your computer knows to be able to read that information, but if somebody else goes and takes this drive out of your computer and puts it into a different computer, or they take it out of your iPhone in this situation, they take that chip out of your iPhone and they try to put it into another iPhone, or they try to plug it into their own device that can read from iPhone chips, they'll see this garbly gookly stuff. They won't see the actual message. They'll have to break the encryption scheme to be able to read that message. They'll have to break the key. So that's kind of an example of what encryption is. Encryption is very important to you because if you don't have encryption on your iPhone, if this is your iPhone right here, somebody can just go to that device and see what's on there. They don't have to try, it's just there. But let's say you lose your iPhone, like while you're traveling, it gives you a little bit of peace of mind, because if your iPhone is encrypted, they will see when they try to go plug in, they're gonna have to break a big long key that's like way longer than this simple thing, and they can't just go in there and see your information. They have to break in, and the encryption algorithms that Apple uses are so difficult to break that even the federal government and Apple themselves has a hard time breaking into them. So what's some information do you need to know about your iOS device, about encryption on it? Well, first of all iOS devices that were made after 2014 on iOS 8, as long as you have a passcode on that device, your device is encrypted. So make sure that you're setting a passcode on that device. It makes sense because if you don't have a passcode on the device, it's pretty worthless to have encryption on there anyway, because somebody can just go and open up your app, open up your phone, and boom, they can get into there. So make sure you have one set. So your passcode is used as that key like we talked about before, and only you know that passcode. Apple doesn't know about it. Even the federal government doesn't know about the key. We'll get back to that one later. I want to talk about that a little bit more. So one of the benefits that that key provides to you as well is when you go and plug in your iPhone to another device such as your Mac, your Windows PC, you have to have that passcode or your fingerprint or your FaceTime, your face to use to unlock that phone before the other device can access it. And there's a prompt that comes up and you have to press the trust button to be able to, for that device to be able to communicate and pull information off of your phone or your iPad. And this is important because it goes back to one of the earlier videos that I talked about in this travel series, that if you go and plug your phone into a public charging station and that charging station was modified, if it wasn't for this encryption and this protection on your iOS device, somebody could set up a charging station that would steal all the data off of your device by having it so that you have to type in the lock code and trust that device. It makes it so that somebody can't just plug in a device and boom, take all your stuff off. So it's super important there. And then some other protections for your iOS device. You can set it up so that your phone automatically wipes after 10 attempts, or that your iPad automatically wipes after 10 failed attempts. You lose your phone, you lose your iPad, somebody decides, hey, somebody finds it, some terrible person decides it, or finds it, and they're like, I want to get into this person's phone and see what kind of stuff they have, or they stole it from you. Well, they have 10 tries until the device is completely wiped. Good luck, especially if you set a 6-character password or a super hard passcode where you can't just type in 1, 2, 3, 4 or something like that. If you don't have that turned on, there's also limitations on how often somebody can go and brute force the password. Apple has it set up so that delays between passcode attempts, for the first four tries, there's no wait. After that, the 5th try, you have to wait a minute. The 6th try, you have to wait 5 minutes. Try 7 through 8 or 15 minutes. And try 9 is an hour. So obviously it's going to take a really long time. If you got a good passcode, it's going to take somebody a super, super long time to be able to break into your device. And then if you have that option turned on where it wipes after 10, then it's very, very difficult to get into your device. Also, you might be asking,
well, Levi, my device backs up to the iCloud. How is that protected?
Well, Apple has said that has end-to-end encryption on it. So not only does your device have the encryption, but up in the cloud, up in the Apple cloud where it's getting backed up, your passcode is associated with that data. So if you get a new phone, you have to enter your passcode on your new phone that you're restoring that data from in order to be able to access that data. That prevents Apple from being able to go in and see that information. That information is only something that you can see. iCloud is backed up, is protected as well. I want to go back to this FBI thing that I was talking about before. The FBI really has a very difficult time getting into the devices. In the San Bernardino shooting case back in 2015, there was a person that shot a bunch of people and killed a bunch of people. And the FBI wanted to get into their iPhone 5C at the time. Person had it set up so that after 10 attempts, the phone would wipe itself. Well, the FBI didn't want to accidentally wipe the phone. They asked Apple to break into the phone themselves or create special software to break into the phone, and Apple wouldn't do it, and Apple didn't have the capability of just getting into the phone without creating special software. So what happened is the FBI ended up taking them to court over it, and Apple refused. They pushed as hard as they could to not have to write software to get into the device. And eventually the FBI figured out a company to do it for them. They broke in via a vulnerability in the device, and they dropped the suit. So currently, to this day in 2019, Apple still does not have a way to get into their devices without writing special software, and Apple is not going to write special software to do it unless another court case comes up against them and they're forced to do so, but they will heavily push against it. So what this means is that the information that's on your iOS devices, that's on your iPad, that's on your iPhone, that information is only going to be able to be accessed by you unless the passcode is broken or Apple's encryption algorithm is broken. And their encryption algorithm is so hard, it's not very likely. The other thing that could happen is vulnerabilities inside of the phone software itself. So there has been incidents where people have been able to use Siri to bypass the lock screen and get into a phone or an iPad that way, but Apple finds out about those and they patch those. There's always going to be some vulnerability out there. It's just like anything out there for technology that I always talk about. There's always going to be some way to break into something, but you want to make it as difficult as possible for somebody to be able to get into there. So hopefully they give up and they stop trying, or it takes them so long to try that they're just wasting their time. So really, by putting encryption on your iOS device, if you lose it, it can give you peace against the majority of the people that are going to find it or steal it, that your information will be safe, and that's really the big thing. So I highly recommend that you put a passcode on your iOS device. And make sure it's a very difficult passcode. By doing this, your iOS device will automatically be encrypted, and it will be very, very difficult for somebody to get into there if you lose your iPhone or your iPad, or if somebody steals it, and you can have a little bit more of peace at mind that your information is safe. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, guys. Have a great day.